You're listening to The Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with Lyndia Grant.
Well, good evening, Radio 1 listeners. Thank you for tuning in to The Lyndia Grant Show. We are here this Black Friday, Thanksgiving weekend. I hope that you all have had a wonderful holiday. This show will be airing on Friday. We're recording earlier in the week, but it is our Thanksgiving show. And I am here now with my first guest, Dr. Julia Malvo, and then next we're going to be talking to LaShawna Gill, talking about why African-American women are angry about what happened in Detroit with the election for Kamala Harris. They're going to be talking about they pissed off, is what Livonia said. So, but let's first go to Dr. Julia Malvo to talk about what she has for us this week. We are here, Radio 1, Spirit 1340, every Friday for the last 15 years. Dr. Julia Malvo, our reparations person. She's also our national speaker and extraordinaire, as I always say. But let's go right to her now. Dr. Julia, go ahead.
Well, first of all, grand day. I stopped saying good morning, good afternoon, just say grand day. And people are talking about Thanksgiving, but I want to begin by talking about the way our Native brothers and sisters talk about this. They call it a national day of mourning because basically when you celebrate the tradition, you can never be too thankful, as you and I know. You can never be too thankful as women of God. But Thanksgiving Day is set up with a whole bunch of myths and nonsense. So the Pilgrims and the Indians probably sat down and had a little powwow and had a good meal together. And then the Pilgrims started killing the Indians. Now, we don't put that part in there. We don't really put that part in there. And so it's just important. Sister Friend did a commentary, and then she referred to it as a National Day of Mourning. And that's what the first one was held on Thanksgiving Day, 1970, and they've been there every year since. Native people from all over the country come to celebrate, to commemorate, really, the Day of Mourning and to talk about what Thanksgiving really is. They don't all celebrate Thanksgiving. I celebrate gratitude, not necessarily Thanksgiving, but gratitude. But I just want folks to think about the day after Thanksgiving, what is Thanksgiving in these United States, where the foundation of it is stealing people's country, stealing people's land.
Yeah.
Just think about it. I'm not saying be ugly. I'm not saying, those Trump people would say this is hating on America. No, it's dealing with American history the way we need to deal with it. And one of the ways we need to deal with it is to just be honest.
That's right.
About what happened with our Native American brothers and sisters. We just have to be honest about it. So now, back to the dreary news. Today we learned that Mr. Trump got away with it. Jack Smith said he is going to close all cases, dismissing all charges against the former and soon-to-be president. There's an FBI policy, apparently, that does not allow you to go after a sitting president. He will be the president as of January 20th, and so Smith says he's just going to dismiss everything. So he's going to close the documents case and the election interference case. There are still a couple of other cases. I'm not sure that Letitia James is going to dismiss the cases in New York with the 47 or 44 or how many ever, too many to keep up with, fraud claims that are there. And I'm not sure what is going to happen. There's another case where the question is whether they can revive it at the end of the term. Meanwhile, I hear my Republican so-called friends talking about the fact that he may step down in the middle of the term and let J.D. Walsh have it, which would be even more catastrophic than himself. But that's the story. He's saying, Smith is saying now, he had already said he was going to fire Smith and da-da-da, but this is not about Smith being fired. Smith says that he's basically responding to an FBI policy that does not allow a sitting president to be taken to court. So there's that. Mm-hmm. So like I said, he got away with it.
Yeah,
now,
he did.
And when you look at these people that he is promoting, they're all oligarchs, very wealthy people, almost all of them, very wealthy people who have something to gain from the position that they're in, that he's appointed them to. So Public Citizen, and I'm asking your listeners to check it out, citizen.org, they have a conflict of interest tracker. They're looking at all the conflict of interest that from these people that the incoming president has appointed. They're looking at people who are in charge of energy and are oil and gas investors. I mean, the only one I think that is halfway decent is a woman from who he's listed as Department of Labor, and that's because the Teamsters wanted her. And, you know, of course, the Teamsters refused to endorse during the election. They refused to endorse Kamala in particular during the electoral cycle. So they pushed hard for this woman. I hope and pray that she will at least be responsive to labor needs. And she seems like she will be. So the Secretary of Labor might not be a bad thing. He's not going to do everything he wants to do right away, but he's going to try. Believe me, he's going to try. Now, the Republicans, of course, are already sharpening their knives around legislation. H.R. 4321 is a piece of legislation that is anti-reparations, says that if any locality that engages in reparations, they won't get federal money. So Evanston, Illinois, as an example, the first locality that really dealt with local reparations, providing housing grants to people who have been redlined out of homes. Evanston is now, they're in negotiation about some other things. They would then lose federal dollars if they go through with this. And there are several other cities and towns. There's Asheville, North Carolina, that's done some very good work. San Francisco, my hometown, has done some work. And they're saying, no, we don't want anything about reparations. Well, that's going to take them a long time to get through. They have other stuff to get through. But the other thing is this anti-transgender thing, which is sick, Lyndia.
Yes,
so Nancy Mace, Nancy Mace is a South Carolina congresswoman. She's introduced legislation to say that you have to use the restroom of your birth gender, which means transgender women, used to be men, like Bruce Jenner, now have taken the surgery to become women. And this surgery, believe me, is painful. If anybody who wants to put themselves through that, I'm like, okay, fine. I got your back. But she says that Sarah McBride, the only transgender member of Congress from Delaware, cannot use the restroom, the women's restroom in the Congress. Now, I don't know how much surgery Sarah has gone through. It's none of my business. It's none of anybody's business. If you have stalls in the bathroom, how do you know what somebody has? And they have taken this, Republicans have taken this transgender issue and made a mountain out of a molehill. Fewer than 1% of the population identifies as transgender. But this woman, this hater, has basically introduced legislation that she can't use the ladies' room on the Capitol. Now, here's the bottom line. Sarah McBride is a woman of class. Here's what she said. She said, I'm not going to fight about bathrooms. I'm going to fight about public policy. She said, I ain't in that. So this is Nancy Mace with her evil self basically creating an issue where there was none. Moving right along, and Mr. Rudolph Giuliani is now appealing. You know, he lost the lawsuit with the two black women that he defamed by name, putting their addresses and phone numbers and everything out, doxed them to the point that they couldn't live in peace. The court found for them $146 million. He doesn't want to pay it. He's taken many of his assets and transferred them to his son or to other people. He will not give up the keys to his condo that the judge has ordered him to do. And now he's appealing to the Second District Court in New York. it's news. It's going to continue to be news because what he did is not that he demonized these two black women. He demonized poll workers. These are people who are volunteering to do their work. They get paid like $35 or something, if you do poll work. Mm-hmm. So to pick on them, pick on somebody your own size, Rudy. Trump ain't paid you. Still, he owes you millions. Go after him. Don't go after these two black women. It's ridiculous. And now let me end on a happy note.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, November 30th, will be Shirley Chisholm Day in New York. People are very excited about it. It's the first time she's had her own day. But we know what Shirley Chisholm means to all of us and means to black women. First black woman to serve in the Congress. Unbought and unbossed. Did not take people's money. Did not hesitate to lift up that finger and say something to somebody. Did not hesitate to do that. And so I'm just excited that New York is going to have a Shirley Chisholm Day tomorrow on Saturday, and we are celebrating with them. Mm-hmm. So that's it for me, Ms. Lyndia. That's
all right.
For me today.
All right. Well, thank you, and I hope you had a wonderful weekend, and don't spend too much money on Black Friday.
I will not be spending any. My goal is not to spend a penny.
All right. Well, good.
Okay.
Maybe
Take
you
care.
Encourage someone else. Thanks for tuning in to the Lyndia Grant Show. Now we're going to go to our commercial break, and we will be back in a moment.
If it wasn't for my care coach at AmeriHealth, I probably wouldn't be so healthy right now. As a man, we don't get checkups or see a doctor regularly anyways. It's probably just a man thing because none of my partners go either. We know we should, but we just don't, and hope it works out.
So what changed for you?
AmeriHealth assigned me a care coach, somebody that gives one-on-one help, answer questions, explain things, and help set my appointments. She also helped me understand what having high blood pressure really means and ways to manage it so it doesn't kill me. It ain't nothing to play with. If you're a member of AmeriHealth, ask for a care coach. I'm glad I got mine.
At AmeriHealth, if you need a care coach, you can have one. Just call us at 1-877-759-6224 to get connected. 1-877-759-6224. This program is funded in part by the government of the District of Columbia Department of Healthcare Finance. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Washington and former religion columnist Lyndia Grant.
Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a segregated Montgomery bus. In lectures on brotherhood, Ms. Parks often said, "People always say that I didn't give up my seat because I was tired." But that wasn't true. I was not tired physically. I was not old. I was 42. No, the only tired I was tired of giving in. Driven out of Montgomery by harassment and death threats, Detroit, Michigan became her new home. Rosa Parks will always be remembered as the mother of the civil rights movement. Raised in the AME church, she once said, "I remember finding such comfort and peace while reading the Bible."
Read more in the religion column of the Washington Informer, an award-winning African-American newspaper. We don't report crime or gossip, just positive news. Pick up the Washington Informer or visit us online at washingtoninformer.com. Call 202-561-4100 for more information.
This is Frank Smith with the African American Civil War Museum in Washington, D.C., located at 1925 Vermont Avenue Northwest on the Green Line. Did you know that a recent study found that children who visit museums do better in school and in life than children who do not? So parents, teachers, and preachers, let's get moving. I promise you, if you bring your children to the African American Civil War Museum, they will be inspired by the images that they see. They will be impressed by our living history reenactors who are always available, and they will be involved in our scavenger hunt that takes them throughout our exhibit. That's the African American Civil War Museum, 1925 Vermont Avenue. Our hours are 10 to 6:30 on weekdays, 12 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. See it. Be inspired.
And we are back for the second half of our show. You're listening to the Lyndia Grant Show right here on Spirit 1340 WYCB. And now for my second guest. I am talking with Executive Director of the African American Leadership Institute out of Detroit, Michigan. I have not met her before, but I'm looking forward to talking to Tashana Gill. Tashana Gill, we are here to talk to you today about why black women are pissed off, as my friend Lavonia Perriman told me. Talk to me about what's going on in Michigan.
Oh, thank you for having me. Yes, I am, and I hail from Michigan, but black women are not just pissed off in Michigan. Black women are pissed off all around the United States of America. And so here in Michigan, we're pissed off, but we are definitely doing something about it. The day after the election, we switched our minds over into organizing and going for the heart of the Democratic Party here in Michigan. So instead of us just showing up to the polls and being the voters, we know that we need to lead the party here in order for things to be right.
And you know what? I wanted to ask the question that Livonia sent to me. She said, for some time, African-American women have voted with the party for years. And at least 90% of African-American women have saved the party only to see all high leadership positions held by white women. For example, Governor Whitmer, Attorney General Nelson, and Jocelyn Benson, Secretary of State. How is that working out for the African-American community?
Well, funny that you should say that. Today here in Detroit, it was a group of former African-American legislators and current African-American legislators that all stood together in downtown Detroit demanding, because they're about to get ready for the lame duck session, demanding that, because we have a trifecta at this moment. We've actually had one for since our last election in 2022, where the Democrats hold, the executive, the Senate and the House, right? Full control. And they have done nothing for African-American people. Like the bills that are geared towards the minorities have just been sitting there. They haven't made committee yet or even thought about passing. So those elected officials, former and present, a number of them stood together demanding that over the next 8 days that the House and the Senate get to work on delivering for African-Americans or else. And I mean, or else. I mean, you saw what happened with the Arab American community here because of Gaza. And I know I can tell deep in my gut that African Americans are there right now. That's how we feel. We're not going along with it anymore. We're not taking any more promises. No more symbolism. It's all about tangible. What can they, what can you hold? What can be actual, right?
Right. So now, without notice, the party is planning to nominate and ask for African-American vote to put a white guy in leadership to head up the Michigan party. They didn't even ask for your opinion or any recommendations. Nothing.
So they never do. So genuinely, and then so it's like a facade where, like, actually the members of the Michigan Democratic Party really actually thinks they picked the party chair. Our current party chair, I would just be transparent, is an African-American woman right now. Her name is Lavora Burns. But what we feel and what we know is that we did not choose her as African-Americans or just as members. She was chosen for us, meaning there's a group of, you know how it goes, elected officials who control the party or groups, and they say, this is this person's turn. They scare everybody else out the race, and they make sure that that person gets elected. So we didn't really choose her. And so now they've done the same thing. Lavora is stepping down, I guess because we lost. She's stepping down, and they've already picked a white male who, quite frankly, has ran his race in Congress and lost, who we just found out, well, it has been said that the newly elected Senator Alyssa Slocum, this is what's been said, I don't know if it is fact, I have to do more research, put him up to run for chair of the party, and the governor is on board with that. But what we say as African-American women, not on our watch, we're not doing that. We will choose our own candidate. We will come vote for our own candidate. We will have a voice or else. We are done with 5 people in a smoky room picking who will be the next chair or who will be the next governor or who will be the next anything. Black women are done. So I would tell you that.
Okay, and so tell me about your organization so that we can share this with listeners. And I have some people that I refer to Livonia, my sorority, and we are headquartered in Detroit, Michigan, Gamma Phi Delta. And I just want to share this show and talk to so that you can explain to listeners who are members that you all have been working with. Who are you all? Talk to us about
who are
that.
we all? Oh, my God. We are a group of a range of African-American women. And let me just be clear before I say what we're doing. Mm-hmm. So the name of our group that we created is Our Own Black Backbone, meaning black women have to be our own backbone. We saw that on November the 5th. You know, white women voted 52% for Trump. Like people, black people in that moment, women thought that, people will stand and vote for Kamala Harris. That did not happen. Mm-hmm. So we are a group of African-American women, and we still welcome everybody. The difference is that we are leading. We are not looking for anybody else or trusting anybody else to lead the pack. Black women will lead the pack and stand arm in arm with our black men. And anybody who wants to join us and believe and support black women, whether that be white, black, purple, orange, any group, we welcome you because, one, we care about all people. But at this time, black women have always been the ones that put themselves last before everybody else, right? Mm-hmm. Now we're putting ourselves first, understanding that black women are the heart of the Democratic Party. And as the heart, we should be leading it. And so the group, so we're making a few demands to the Michigan Democratic Party and I'm sure that because we're working with women in other states to help them create the same thing as well. Mm-hmm. So we will have, it's called Our Own Backbone, and we will have a stronger say in candidate selection, meaning you can't choose our candidates for us. Again, no smoky room thing here. We can find educated people to run and lead us. And don't try to use our own against us. We know it's the black people in the room that act like they're with us and for us, but they're not. So that's not going to work either. So we're choosing our own candidates. We're aiming for transparency in the leadership selection. We want to see stronger party support for black leadership. Here, they always say, a black person can't win statewide for governor. Yes, they can. Why they can't? Yes, they can if we fully back them and trust them to lead. A black person can't fundraise. Yes, they can. The party needs to start getting behind black candidates and black leadership like they do their white counterparts. So it's a whole game changers. Black women have woke up. We're not going back to sleep. We're done. It's not going back. We will have a voice, or else, guess what? We will do like the Arab American community did. We won't vote for you. Because they always tell us, oh, my God, this is so important. This is the election that matters. It mattered November the 5th, right? It mustn't matter that much to them, correct?
That's right. So it's a whole different ball game now. We have awakened. It is no more compromising at all. We're not compromising on what we know and what we feel has to happen. So that's where we are here in Michigan. And like I said, we're working with people from other states. It's called Our Own Backbone. And we know the strength. We know our strength. We know our power. We claim our power. And we are definitely unstoppable.
And I just want to volunteer to ask you to put me on your list
because I'm connected to Lewis College of Business back when it was on Myers Road. I came to Detroit. They flew me, the president, Dr. Marjorie Harris, the late Dr. Marjorie Harris, flew me to Detroit every year for 5 to 6 times a year to plan her fundraiser. So I've done a lot of work in Michigan, dealt with a lot of corporations and foundations and held luncheons. And I feel like I'm a citizen of Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. And so I'd like for you to please include me. And I have my newspaper and my column. And although I write for the Washington Informer, they usually write whatever I put out because I've been writing for 20 years. So a lot of times I write about what's going on in Michigan. And I intend to support you all.
Well, thank you so much for that. And this is a call for Black, brown, and then let me tell you what we're doing here. Our elected officials need to be put on notice. We are asking, do you support us or not? Those who support us, they will be named. Those who try to hide and do not support us, they will be named. And when they're running for elections, guess what? It will be somebody in their race to replace them, and we will fund them, we will work hard for them, and we will win. It is time out for the black women vote to be used and abused ever again. You will respect us now. So that's where we are.
All right. I love it. Thank you so much, Ms. Gill, for being my guest today. I am so happy that you have put this word out. And I'm truly pleased, Tashana, to be able to share this information. Our show is pre-recorded. And when the show is ready, we intend to send you a copy, and we want to get this word out all over the place. Thank you so much.
And I will share it everywhere. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being patient, because we just had a Black Women's meeting, actually, where we're all about action. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. All right, I'm going to close my show. Thank you for tuning in to the Lyndia Grant Show. I am so happy to be here with you each and every week. I close each week by saying, words, thoughts, and deeds have a boomerang effect, so be careful what you send out. Scripture says, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. Thank you for tuning in to the Lyndia Grant Show. We hope this show with Dr. Julianne Melville and Tashana Gill out of Michigan have been helpful to you. This is Good Friday. I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving, and don't spend too much money on Good Friday. All right. See you again next week. Good day.
Thank you for listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with your host, Lyndia Grant.